Caitlin choked back the tears that gathered in her throat. She knew her mother spoke the truth. Mary had lost all interest in life the day her beloved husband was killed in a mine cave-in. "I don't like for you to talk that way, Mama." She squeezed the frail white hand lying on the table. "Besides, Hattie and Peter would always take care of me. Much better than that man." "I know that, honey, but I don't think the town fathers would allow you to live with a black couple, no matter how much the Smiths love you or how willing they might be to take care of you." Caitlin dropped the subject, knowing that her mother wouldn't be swayed. So the marriage had taken place the next day as planned. Her mother's longtime friends prepared a wedding party for after the ceremony. Yancey had been all smiles, laughing and talking with the men, being very solicitous of his new wife, bringing her a piece of their wedding cake, keeping her cup filled with tea. Caitlin was beginning to think that maybe they were all mistaken about her new stepfather. Maybe he did care for her mother. With well wishes and congratulations to the newlyweds, the guests began to leave. Soon the party was over. As Caitlin began gathering up cups and glasses and the remnants of the wedding cake, she glanced often at her mother. The celebration had tired Mary. Her features were drawn and there was a weariness in her eyes. Caitlin looked at Yancey, worry clouding her gaze. Would he be gentle with her mother when they went to bed? Caitlin couldn't remember now who looked the most surprised, she or her mother, when Yancey pulled on his coat and said gruffly, "I'm meeting up with some friends. I'll see you tomorrow sometime." She could remember, however, that there was relief in both their eyes. At least Mama's tired body would get a rest tonight. As it turned out, her mother never shared her bed with her new husband. On the third night, when Yancey prepared to leave, Mary shyly hinted that she would not deny his conjugal rights. He had laughed in her face and said with a sneer, "You skinny bag of bones, you wouldn't last 10 minutes the way I ride a woman. I want my bed partner to be as lusty and randy as I am." Yancey had slammed the door behind him, leaving Caitlin and Mary both shocked, but relieved. They had learned shortly after that he spent his nights with Lulu Collins, the madam of the whorehouse in town, as he'd done since he'd first arrived in the area. No more than a week passed before Yancey began demanding money from Mary, a great deal of money. "I don't have that kind of money, Yancey," she answered timidly. "What with you not working, there will soon be nothing left of my savings." "How much do you have, bitch?" he growled at her. "I'll have to make do with it." "Very little, Yancey. I need it all for food supplies." "Caitlin, get in here," he bellowed. Caitlin, who had overheard the exchange, stepped into the room, not knowing what to expect as she looked at the belt he had doubled in half and was slapping against his leg. As she waited to be told what he wanted with her, he grabbed her suddenly, spun her around, and brought the belt down across her back. The unexpectedness of it and the pain brought a shriek from her lips. "Stop it!" Mary cried out as he lifted the belt to strike her daughter again. "The money is in my jewelry box, in the top dresser drawer." "That's more like it," Yancey said, a cruel smile twisting his lips as he threaded the belt through the loops of his trousers. "From now on," he warned as he buckled the belt, "any time you say no to me, your kid is gonna get the belt." From that day on, Mary hadn't crossed her husband once. Still, Caitlin continued to feel the belt at any imagined infraction of the ridiculous rules he had laid down for her to follow. The house was to be neat and clean at all times, even though he tracked in mud and dirt half a dozen times a day and left his clothes scattered about for her to pick up. She was to have supper on the table every night at 6 o'clock sharp, even if it was only a pan of cornbread and a jug of buttermilk. Sometimes, if he had been lucky at cards, he would bring home some fatty meat for her to prepare. Unlike mother and daughter, Yancey didn't lose any weight on the meager diet that barely kept them alive. He was well fed by Lulu. Then there were the white shirts he liked to wear. He only owned 2, and every day Caitlin had to scrub the alternate one, starch and iron it. One day she slightly scorched the collar of his favorite shirt and received a belting that bloodied her back. 2 weeks into the